Damn! The carnage and epicness of this episode. This was easily the most serious feeling episode of One Punch Man in its entirety thus far, because I mean the level of threat that we're facing with this one and the casualties and all the heroes that have fallen in this one, it was absolutely insane. Like, this was easily the most serious and probably one of the best. Yet again, One Punch Man, it seems as though with every episode or every other episode, it continues to progressively get better and better, and I fucks with it so heavy. So the threat of the Deep Sea King and all of his folk that are there tearing up the town. I mean, I think one of the things that this episode did very well as well is that it ultimately introduced a ton of new heroes, and it was giving them enough time to where you're looking at them and you're not just like, who gives a fuck, who gives a fuck, who gives a fuck. Like, starting off with Stinger, and you gotta give that dude credit because he took out a shit ton of all the people that the Deep Sea King had sent up there. He like took out a bunch, and then there was like 4 more and he took them out, and it was only the Deep Sea King himself that was able to take him out. So give props to Stinger, and yet again, that's the way you introduce some really cool heroes and really cool characters in general. I mean, I don't know if we'll ever see Stinger again, especially the demolished nature that he was after the Deep Sea King got to him, but you had him, you had Lightning Max. Lightning Max was okay, he wasn't as cool as Stinger, but like, you know, you just introduce a ton of new heroes in this one. Then you got Heroes, which kind of makes me wonder, how the fuck was he a hero to begin with? He must have been a hero that went to prison, but they didn't take him off for the hero site as well. The dude, I don't, what was it, Pooty, I don't remember his fucking name, but dude was sick as fuck. And I mean, even having him there, the lowest of S class, but yet again an S class, and he was taken out by a demon level threat. So you gotta think, okay, if this is a demon level threat and S classes are getting dropped like fucking flies, then the higher the levels, the fucking bigger the threats, and ultimately, this is just demon. There's still levels above and beyond him. How the fuck are the S classes gonna deal with threats that are even bigger than him? That's like, in a way, even though you're giving already a really credible threat, and you're having him demolish shit and everything, ultimately you're setting things up for even further threats. So this demon guy right here, you know, demon level, is fucking up S classes, and there's people even stronger than him. That's what makes it like, well, what if the next threat is even stronger than him? What's gonna happen then? And something to note about this episode, because I think one of the things that this episode did as well, yet again, very good, is that it didn't have Saitama, but it still kept itself very interesting. I mean, there was bits of Saitama here and there, but he wasn't the focal point of it, and he wasn't fighting the threat or anything like that, but it still kept itself interesting, which is something that I felt One Punch Man, it's kind of hard to do with this series, because I think the two main attractions to the series is Saitama and Genos, and you didn't really have Saitama too much in this episode, especially doing anything major, so it kept itself interesting without having Saitama, which is something that a lot of people really watch the show for. Personally, I watch the show for, and I think he's a driving force behind it all, and you didn't have him in the episode and still kept it very entertaining and progressive, and, you know, built the threat up even higher. So good shit there as well. And something that I noticed about this episode is, because we didn't have Saitama, is why I think we had a credible threat built up. I mean, for starters, this is going to be a 2-parter, possibly even more as far as, you know, episodes go, but since you didn't have Saitama in the episode, you were able to showcase some of the other heroes and showcase how credible this threat is, because I think, in a sense, the overall joke to a certain degree, because it is kind of like a parody of Shonen and whatnot, is he's a convenient plot device, but it's funny because we all know that he's, you know, just one punch, you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, okay, since he's not in there, we can actually have something serious and have this guy look like a beast, because you throw Saitama in there, and more than likely when Saitama gets his hands on this Deep Sea King, Saitama's gonna fuck his shit up. So that's in and of itself, I think, the joke as well, and it was kind of cool because you didn't have Saitama. You get to see Sonic, which I was impressed, because I thought Sonic was a lot weaker than what he was showcasing this episode, and then again, he went up against Saitama, so you're going up against a god like that, you're gonna get fucked up, but Sonic put up a decent fight against the Deep Sea King and only said he needed a weapon to really take him to town. So I was really impressed at how built up Sonic was. I mean, you had that crazy gay dude that was going in, you had Sonic, you had Sting, like there was just a lot of motherfuckers in this episode that was kicking ass, and it was a lot of people in one episode, but still ultimately kept them individualized and kept them interesting, and it wasn't just like a clusterfuck of who's this, who's that. I mean, even those 4 guys that they were trying to hide what they braved up and they got owned, it was like, yeah, everyone got a little bit of spotlight. And I'm wondering exactly why the fuck the association is so close with Moomin Rider. At the end of the day, Moomin Rider ain't doing shit. It's hilarious as fuck. He's on his little bicycle and he's even stopping at red lights when there's this colossal threat fucking everything up, but it's like, why does the association just fuck with Moomin Rider so much? And the way it was ended with Saitama picking up the phone and, like, you know, getting serious, is like, okay, I gotta stop dicking around now. It was honestly an amazing episode. It was a great episode yet again. Art and animation. Do I need to say it? Do I really need to say it? You know the art and animation was fucking amazing with this episode. And it just handled itself so well with introducing new characters, building up a credible threat, being interesting without Saitama, which is the most interesting thing about the actual show. And it was just very well done, and I can't wait to see Saitama finally show up and fuck his shit up. I'm curious if next episode, because Genos showed up, is Genos going to be able to put up a fight? I'm imagining that this dude is going to be so strong that even Genos himself can't do anything, and it's going to take Saitama, which, again, it's kind of parroting, like, you know, the main hero has to do it all, but that's the joke of it all. He is the plot device, and it's funny as fuck, and I'm loving One Punch Man. This was an amazing episode. 9.5 out of 10. Would have liked a little bit more Saitama, and again, I'm surprised that this was stretched out into a two-parter, because usually every One Punch Man episode is all compact into one episode, but that's cool as well. Let me know your overall thoughts of the episode. What did you think about that? Do you think that, in a sense, the reason why this guy was built up to be so credible and he was able to fuck everything up and really look like a boss, the Deep Sea King, is because Saitama wasn't around and it was, you know, delaying his inevitable arrival against the Deep Sea King? And will Genos be able to take him out? And what do you think about a lot of the heroes that were introduced? And were you surprised at Sonic's strength and speed? Honestly, I didn't think Sonic was that awesome, but Sonic is even, like, he gained a lot of points for me as well as a character, so good shit there. And if this is a demon class, and he's able to take out these S-classes and he's just unstoppable, then what about the level beyond that? But that's all I have for this review. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed, if you could do so as well, that'd be amazing. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day.